Hola a todos y buenas tardes desde La Paz, Mexico. So I promised an announcement about my future plans for my trip. I just reached this beautiful town at the end of the Baja Peninsula here in Mexico a couple of days ago. And initially my plan that I'd said all along was to take the boat from here across the Sea of Cortez that would take me to the Mexican mainland in the city of Mazatlan. But I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm actually going to get on a bus and go back north to the city or large town of Ensenada in Baja California north, where I'm going to stay for another 2 months and continue my Spanish studies. That's my main goal while I'm here in Mexico, as well as seeing Mexico and meeting lots of Mexican people and eating lots of Mexican food. I want to really get my Spanish fully up to scratch for the rest of my travels in Latin America over the next 2 years. I also have a lot of writing projects and video editing projects that I want to concentrate on, and I also want to develop my presentation skills in Spanish so that I can give more presentations with schools and other groups partly about my travel and the lessons that I've learned from it, and hopefully to inspire some of those young people to follow their own dreams and live in tune with their own values. So I've got a lot of work that can keep me busy for at least a couple of months until late June. And then what? Well, at that point my 6 months in Mexico will be pretty much used up. My visa will be about to expire. So I intend to return north through Tijuana into USA. And in USA in June I will continue north by overland transport, I hope, back to rejoin the Great Divide route down the Rocky Mountains where I left it last winter. In winter I couldn't continue much further south than Montana. I also wanted to see California at the time, so I bailed off the Great Divide back then. But I'm going to pick it up now and spend another 3 months in USA. That'll take me down to the border with Mexico again in late September or early October, give or take. And here's the other reason for this. At that time, the weather there is going to be much more suitable to traveling by bicycle and to camping. If I continue south now on this timeline, I'm riding straight into the heat and humidity and mosquitoes of a tropical summer, and then into hurricane season in the islands, on Cuba for instance, if I decide to go there. So basically I'm going to reset my whole timeline by about 5.5, maybe even 6 months, which should put me in the southern part of Mexico, Cuba, Belize and Guatemala around New Year. In the winter it's still hot, but nothing like the crazy oppressive heat and humidity of summer, which I would get if I continued now. So yeah, it's been a strange process deciding that. I knew in my heart that this was the right thing to do. I had the offer of a place to stay in Ensenada. I've made some really good friends there who I'm looking forward to rejoining in a few days. So yeah, it felt like the right thing to do, but it's not something I've ever done on my trip before. It felt really like I ought to be continuing to press on south. But even the last few weeks as I've traveled in Baja have proved that I'm really not studying Spanish as I'm traveling. I'm too involved in day-to-day life on the road. And if anything, my Spanish is actually has gotten worse. Partly because in Baja there aren't that many people in the deserts and mountains to practice your Spanish with, but I'm just not doing the daily practice. So I think another couple of months in a fixed abode where I can really consolidate and perhaps even get some direct tuition to really make good on the gains that I've made already in Spanish. So La Paz is the end of the road for me in Baja California. Lots more videos and lots more stories from the last 6 months of my travels to come, which I'll be able to write up and process when I get back to Ensenada. But yeah, this is glorious La Paz. Okay, see you soon.